Now we are continuing with the second segment this morning, and we are going to evaluate the ongoing lower level elections of the ruling SLPP People's Party across the country. And now they are conducting themselves, and also going to discuss the role of the Political Parties Regulatory Commission, PPRC, in checkmating or regulating political parties' activities around the country. And for this particular discussion, we've been joined by Umaru Napoleon Koroma. He is the National Secretary General of the ruling SLPP, and of course Eugene Momoh. Eugene Momoh is the Outreach Officer of PPRC. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Indeed. One would say you are learning your duck in a row and getting your house in order. How would you describe the process so far? Your elections, I mean.
Well, thank you very much, and good morning, Israelians. The process so far, I must say, is good. It's a great success, and it's just normal. It's part of the SLPP's arrangement, and it's also in compliance with the provisions of our national constitution, which stipulates clearly that the internal arrangement of political parties should conform to democratic principles, and the SLPP's political arrangement starts from the very ground, which we call it lower level, or maybe the first layer of election, where we get the membership of the party to select those who should represent them, either at the sectional level in the provinces or at the zonal level. So once those executives are elected, they now form the electoral college for the rest of the elections. So the first level of election is to actually get membership, to have a feel of internal democracy within the party. That's why we give the opportunity. We don't just sit down and select members to represent our party people. So you have to go down there in your section, in the provinces, in the chiefdoms, and in the western area or the urban centers. You have to go to your zones. We divided politically in the SLPP arrangement, we divided the country into sections and zones in the urban areas. So you have to campaign at that level for you to get elected. So once we have the executives now at that level, the rest of the process will definitely flow seamlessly without any issues.
So, structures being charred in the process, people being bitten, or bits and pieces of fracas, if you like to call it that. Would you say the party is in total peace at the moment?
Yeah, well, we conducted these elections across the country. I must say we have 90% success rate, and we have, of course, disagreement. There's about 10% in some areas, and that we're dealing with. But before we came to even the commencement of these elections, we had several meetings. The second highest body of the party, which is the National Executive Council of the party, we call NEC. We convened NEC, and we discussed the elections. And we agreed that we are going to go by the rules and regulations for the conduct of all executive elections for the Israeli People's Party, published on the 5th of February 2021. So in 2021, we sat down, we discussed these rules and regulations, and we endorsed it, and we took it to the PPRC as required by law. The PPRC gazetted it, and is the law. So we have to go by this document.
Okay.
And the document is very clear as to who is responsible for each election at each level, and what should be done with regards the elections. Everything is contained in this document. As a reminder, before the election, I had to put out 2 press notices reminding all those who are involved in the election, who were supposed to be involved in the election, that they should comply strictly by the procedures and the rules and regulations, i.e. the sectional level election or the zonal level election. Those who should conduct it should be in charge of it. Then we bring it. The first aspect of the process, we say to ourselves, we can meet in an open place and have a consensus. We can agree to say, we are going to have Mr. A to lead us. We are the consensus are not working, then we can have elections. So this document is in their hands. And I also put out a notice reminding them to go strictly by this document. We know sometimes elections do serve as enablers or triggers for some other issues people do have. So when these occasions arise in some areas, people want to settle maybe some old scores and they hide behind the cloak of elections. I must say, one of the areas we've just discovered where there were reported fracas, it had nothing to do with our election. It was only some disagreement that has been existing in that particular area. So when the process came in, people use that as an excuse. But thank God the police have come in, the local government has come in, and they are taking decisions. But those complaints that we have received so far, we have set up what we call the Regional Complaints Committee, which is provided for under the rules and regulation. That committee has been announced. We put their numbers on social media. We send their numbers to all party members that if you have a complaint, go to them in the regions. We've set them up. They've started their work. Take your complaints there. They will look into those complaints. They will listen to the complaint, and after which they will report back to the National Secretariat, who receive this report from them, analyze this report, and see where the reports, the merits are there, the cases are open and everything. The decision will be taken based on the rules and regulation. They can make progress on the process.
Where does PPRC come in all of this? You've listened to Umaru.
Yes. Good morning. Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah. The Political Parties Regulation Commission is a creation of the 1991 Constitution, and Section 34 of that instrument created a commission. As a commission, we always give a level playing field for all political parties to operate, whether in their internal engagement or external. And then also I want to use this opportunity to inform the public that we have our chairman, Emmanuel K. Amara, the commission. The former is not with us anymore, and we now have a new chairman, Emmanuel K. Amara. So key of our mandate is to regulate, monitor the affairs and conduct of political parties. And the lower level elections of political parties is not an exception. So our main focus, our responsibilities in lower level elections for all political parties, including the SLPP, is to monitor their process. What we do is we ensure that while we monitor, the process is free, fair, and all parties have a level playing field. So that's what we've been doing. On Saturday, we've been around various centers across the regions, and we monitor the various elections across the country. Just like the State General said, some areas, there are consensus. Where consensus is not hold, then we have elections. And prior to the elections on Saturday, we had an engagement with the leadership of the party and the chairman and the Secretary General, where we discussed on how the process should be, the pathway. And from those discussions, they informed the commission that this time around it not will be business as usual. Before now, any people can go to these centers, claim to be SLPP members, but now, according to the chairman, they have a serialized party cards sent to every district, and these serialized cards are sent down to the sections executive because they have the mandate to register the ordinary members at that level. And these serialized cards, according to the chairman, are unique, and no two cards have the same codes. So the sections executive will register members of the party, and they will use those serialized cards to vote. And they are not using the SLPP membership card. They are only using the serialized card because in an event, maybe a particular aspirant may want to copy more of those membership card and give to individuals to vote. We all know sometimes how these elections go. So then secondly, they've agreed to clause 2 and clause 3 of their rules and regulation, whereby they have to conduct themselves in a peaceful manner and also go by the rules set out from the secondization making body NEC, because they come up to that resolution to use the serialized cards. So we're around on Saturday, and then we noticed 1 or 2 issues, but they were not that too serious issues. They bordered around the use of tampered voters register, and also there were disagreements in some centers. Members were there. They said the people conducting the elections, they were not the ones that are supposed to conduct the elections. So there are these discrepancies, and some areas elections do not hold because of these disagreements. So these are some of our findings, but there were no serious issues or, let's say, violence in the areas we monitor as a commission on Saturday.
You've already noted one or two skirmish, I would say, here and there. Do you feel the tension already? It's 2025. Yes, we're talking about lower level elections, but do you feel the tension that is to come?
Well, these tensions are not new for PPRC. I mean, it comes to the TIT. We've endured more tensions like more than this one. But I would say, the SLPP, or let's say political parties in general, for some time now, because we now have a new act, the Act number 25, the Political Parties Act number 25 of 2022, and this act gives us the power. You know, before now, in the area of codes of conduct, it was just a gentleman's agreement whereby we have to sit, we have to encourage them, we have to pacify them. But now we don't pacify them. We have the power now, we have the law, the codes of conduct. In an event you fall short, then the commission will take action. So since we have an act, political parties they have been behaving themselves, especially in their internal democracy. So tension is not new to the commission. We're used to it, and like I said earlier, the tensions are not compared to before. I mean, it's a bit minimal now. Though yes, you have one or two challenges, but we always ensure that we sail through.
Being tasked with regulating political parties' activities, I would say, is no small task at all. How independent is the PPRC when it comes to holding political parties accountable?
Well, we're independent. We don't, as a commission, we don't listen or we don't take instructions or guidance from external factors. You know, as a commission, like I said earlier, the 1999 Constitution gave us the power, and we are an independent commission. So we are not subject, or we are not subject to individuals or some sections or some organization where we have to explain to them or we have to listen to advice or directions from them. So we are an independent institution, like commission. As I said, the Constitution gave us the mandate, and also the Political Parties Act number 25 of 2022. And then you can also check our track records, you know, with the area of conducting or monitoring the lower level elections, engaging political parties, guiding them through the process. You know, you can check our track records, and you will see that the commission over the years have displayed the level of professionalism and given the playing field for all political parties to operate, devoid of whether you're financially buoyant or not, or whether you're a big or small party. We always give the level playing field for political parties to operate, and we also ensure that we engage them on their issues and also issues that have to do with the Political Parties Act.
Umaru, I'll come back to you. For lower level elections, you know, oftentimes I think the disagreement in political parties when it comes to grassroots members sometimes is that they might feel sidelined when it comes to real, maybe, favor within the political party. Are these elections, when it comes to the lower level, are they just a formality?
In the SLPP, it's not just a formality. The level of energy I saw in this past Saturday, people actually put into electing their sectional and zonal executive, gave me a lot of indication that people are very, very more serious about upholding democratic principles within our party. And I've been around the secretariat for the past 8 years. In 2017, I contested election. I was not involved too much in sectional or zonal election. I waited until the constituency elections were conducted to district, and I started my campaign to speak to the delegates, because these are actually delegates. But now the ordinary members do believe that those who are coming up, who are coming to represent them, should have to be a reflection of their own little sections of zonals where they are. So they take it very, very seriously. And also the disagreement actually had to do with, like the PPRC guy was saying, with regards about people agreeing on the venue where the election should be conducted, who should be in charge of the process, etc., etc. And sometimes again, when you have some executives who have been there and they want to continue, people just think setting up that sectional level and building up that delegate level would probably give some advantage for them to either maintain their position or get their preferred candidates to win. But we try as much as possible as a political party to control ourselves internally, which is why we have our rules and regulation. We don't want to come to the PPRC because we know in 2021, when I was conducting similar elections, we had a couple of disagreements. We had to come to the PPRC. The PPRC had to tell us to go and do the elections again. It's so tiring, and sometimes it takes a lot of energy from people, and we don't want that, which is why we tried as much as we can to ensure that this time round we actually, had the process properly regulated. We said, okay, these are party membership cards with serial numbers. You take it, the district, take it to the constituency, take it to the chiefdoms, for example, and the chiefdom call your sectional executives, give them, and let them go to the ordinary member. Let the people have a feel of this democracy, because when it comes to election, these are the people who are going to canvass to these people who are so they have a say. It's not everybody eventually, but let them at least have that democracy or see that democracy working at that level. And as you rightly said, in most of the area, people are satisfied. They said, okay, they went to the Barry and said, okay, we're happy. We still want this executive or want this number and everything. They agreed on the consensus. They've sent those sectional executive lists to us, which we've accepted, and we are now doing the input to ensure that we go to the next level of election. But in some areas, definitely, there were disagreements. And we trust. We commissioned the Regional Complaints Committee, and I spoke to them, myself and the chairman. I told them that no matter what happens, if you are called upon to serve, you have, first of all, yourself, your integrity. Let's maintain that. So tomorrow when you're not around, people will look back at you and say, this is what you did, and this is what you did. And I'll be speaking to them, either directly, informally, and I'll be putting out messages that whatever you're doing out there, conduct yourselves with some integrity so that people will believe and have trust in the process. And we need to have that. It's very much important to us as a political party that the base, the energy I saw from our base coming out was very, very much great. And I want that energy to be sustained. And the only way we have to do that is to make sure that the people are satisfied at that level. So the committee is at work as I speak to you. They will continue throughout the day today, tomorrow, and we're expecting a report to come from them.
The disagreements that actually occurred in the few areas you mentioned actually stem from issues of conduct that are not new. For example, the voter register mentioned and the likes. Are these worrying signs?
In terms, for us, within that, these are some things we believe we can correct, and these are issues we think the committee will look at very keenly, and when it comes back to the National Secretariat, we tend to revert that. Because I told them, I'm a stickler to procedures and processes. Whatever happens, even if you don't agree, but if I believe that the process is right, and the procedures are correct as per the law so established, I'm never hesitant to take any decision with that regard. It's only when I realize that processes are circumvented, then I get very, very much, a little bit difficult. Because no matter what you do, people always disagree. When I go into elections, it's for me to win. If I lose, I complain. But if I believe that the processes we have followed, if you come to me and say, all the processes we have followed, I signed up to this election, the cards were there, I went there, I voted and everything, those who are supposed to conduct, they conducted the election, but then you're coming to tell me, well, maybe I did not win the election because, no. But if the processes were not followed, then that's something we have to take very seriously. They will not accept that.
Although the party had prepared these beautiful laws in the brochure you showed us earlier, there are still pockets of discrepancies, electoral discrepancies, as Lucien advanced earlier. Do you think these discrepancies have actually hindered the smooth political, process of these elections so far? Worried at all?
Yeah, in some of the areas, some of the areas where we had the discrepancies, if they have followed strictly to what we put there, those discrepancies would not have occurred. We would not have had those issues. But the human nature being what it is, we saw that. But be that as it may, these regulations were made in 2021, and we were also in the process of reviewing some parts of our constitution. These are things we actually need to review again based on our own experiences. We use these rules and regulations for 2021. We learned some lessons, and we are using it again. we're also learning some lessons, and I believe the incoming executive will improve on them and do some amendments to the provisions and make it even more better or robust. That does not mean there will not be room for people to still flout it. We'll only continue to work on it to make it better. But like I said, compare this process compared to 2021, for the first phase of it of Saturday was largely almost 90% success. The 10% will deal with it. Definitely.
Now, you were fast chasing 2028 for the big elections, you know. How strategic would you say these lower level elections are, you know, to putting your house in order?
They are very much strategic. In the first place, you are taking the party back to the people. You're telling them that they own the party and they are the ones who are responsible for the party's success in the election and for the party to continue in governance. That feel of touch they are having is something very much inspiring from them. And like I said, the energy I saw this Saturday is actually galvanizing that base. It's very, very much pleasing to me, and I think it's something we need to build on and we need to continue on that, because definitely when we complete the process, we'll be electing an executive in May, and that executive will have to take us to the 2028 elections. So this first, the executive elections, and that executive will then conduct another convention wherein the leader of the party, eventually the flag bearer, and his or her deputy will also be chosen at that convention for them to lead the party into the 2028 election. So these elections are very, very much crucial. They are very, very much important. If you leave out, you don't want to leave the level of discontent very high at that level, it becomes a very serious issue. So as best as we can, you have to minimize it to the barest minimum or eliminate it completely, which is why we've given everybody the opportunity to participate, and those who've had complaint, we've given them for them to be heard, and the evidence, you know, presented, and we see, and we at the National Secretariat as well will look at the reports coming back to us, and we'll find a way to resolve it so that as best as we can, we'll be able to eliminate those possibilities of discontent at the very lower level of our party structure.
If we are to prognosticate or speak about the future, let's say we foretell, do you think there is a formidable, you know, successor to President Bio for 2028 in the party?
Oh yes, the SLPP is getting bigger and formidable day by day, and I will assure you that 2028 we're even going to be far better and more organized than you ever imagine. We are very much prepared and we are very much ready, and we are set. And this is the process we've started, and we are overseeing it, we are superintending it. I, for one, having served at the Secretariat for almost 8 years, I'll be graciously bowing out of the Secretariat for the time being, meaning I will not be contesting again for the position of Secretary General. But that does not mean we are not going to stay. We're going to stay very much alert and very much involved to ensure that the legacy we've already started under President Bio as the SLPP will continue to build on it and make Israel in a better place.
Lucien, the date is not too far. You know, 2020 is just around the corner. Do you think you are logistically prepared, you know, for the Herculean task ahead? It's going to be a very controversial election. This is more or less a build-up. You know, these elections you're overseeing now would perhaps lay the basis for the coming election. How prepared are you? I mean, as a sector.
Thank you. And we are always prepared. As a commission, we are not a fire brigade commission where we have to wait until issues or incidents happen before we're all over the place trying to resolve. Like I said earlier, you can check the track record, our track record, and then you notice that over the years we give that level playing field for every political party. So we are way prepared. We are more than prepared as a commission for elections. And you know, our main focus are political parties. They are major constituents. So we ensure that they abide to their rules and regulations and provisions in the Political Parties Act, the Public Elections Act, and the GUI Act. Yesterday, we had an engagement in relation to the GUI Act and Sections 41 of the Act, PPRC Act, where they talk about the involvement of women in politics. So now political parties that are in their lower level elections, some are For the SLPP, they are on the lower level, and other political parties are in preparation. So we engaged them yesterday, the leadership of all 16 registered political parties and the women's leader, where we remind them of the provisions in these acts where they have to cater for 30% of women in their party structure, their executive. So these are this is one of our plans, our activities where we prepare political parties for elections, because at the end of the day, we don't want political parties to be crying all over the place that, oh, they have enfranchised us, the political and PPRC, it's been more Zulu, all those issues here and there. So we always remind them and we take them through our provisions so that they will be qualified to take part in an elections, because you notice our last elections, there are political parties who we are not qualified, who not took part in the elections. These are some of the issues. So this time we will continue to engage them and we educate them on the provision or the requirements for political parties to take part in an elections, because it's not just based on registration. There are other limbs, there are other factors you have to consider before a political party can be qualified to take part in an elections. If I can compare or equate work, I'll compare it to football. We are the coach and the ECSL, they are the referee. If you do not train well or you prepare well, you won't be in the field, you won't play. So we always ensure that we prepare our players well, because they are major constituents and they are concerned. So we ensure we prepare them well for the big match, for the big stage. So we've always been proactive as a commission to ensure that political parties maintain themselves and also qualified and meet the requirements to take part in an elections.
Just before we go for sports, Umaru, there's an interesting comment on our Facebook page I'd like you to respond to. It's from Almami Tui. It says, "Good morning, AYV. I'm a patriot, but looking at the recent event tells me that neither the APC nor SLPP are immune to election violence. Power has been the main means to resources, so people use all means to reach their goals, no matter what happens. So sad for a country who sounds the speak to clean the image of Sierra Leone. It is hypocritical for our leaders, with no disrespect, just constructive criticism." What would you say to that?
Yeah, thank you very much. SLPP, we are used to internal party democracy since its formation. I always tell people, this was a party that was formed on the basis of compromise from the south, east, north, and west, where everybody came together and said, this is what we want to do. And everything we do is reflective of that. And elections, discussion, consensus is that. But I'll tell you, violence has no space in the SLPP. And I've said it, and I'll say it here again publicly. Those who are involved in any violent activity will not be owned or protected by the party. They are not. We've asked the police to investigate those incidents that we saw on social media reported by people, for them to investigate them thoroughly. Anybody that is responsible, those are criminal actions. The police will take action and the law will take its course. So, those who always want to use election as a trigger or as an enabler for them to perpetrate whatever grudges they have against others will also face the full force of the law. Our party is based on laws, procedures, and processes. And I advised everybody before the election that we should go by writ. If anybody claims to be SLPP and you decide to do what is not stated in our rules and regulation and to go on a frolic of your own, then you have yourself to blame for whatever actions you get yourself involved in. But we'll continue, like I said. Sierra Leone is big. We have about 5 regions, many political areas. We conducted the election, some consensus, some processes went on quietly. When some other areas, we had those issues, and those issues will be thoroughly investigated. The complaints relating to the elections will be dealt with by the complaints committee. Those relating to violence, the police, we've asked the police personally, and we've written to them to investigate them. Anybody that is responsible for that will face the full force of the law. They are not the SLPP way. I will not accept them, definitely.
Okay.
But now, as we wrap up Wake Up Sierra Leone here, we're beyond time. So, what's next for the SLPP?
Thank you very much this morning. I want to use this platform as well again to continue sending out my message to the membership of the Israeli People's Party. I said to you before and I will say it again. Let's conduct ourselves in a manner reflective of the aspirations of our founding father. This party was founded on the principles of unity, of uniting Israelis together, bring Israelis together from the north, south, east, and west. We are one country, one people. This is an internal party democracy. It's a family contest. It's a friendly contest. In a family, you can disagree to agree. You can shout at each other, but you never harm each other. Let's please remember that we are a family. Let's conduct ourselves. Those who have grievances and those who have complaints, your complaints will be looked into. We hear your complaint. And we expect you at the end of the day, when decisions are reached, I will expect you to respect those decisions in the interest of the general good, which is that of the SLPP. We have a responsibility. Our duty as political party is to shape the political opinion of people in this country. We have a membership, we have the strength, and we have the structures to continue to govern this country and lead it to where we are all expecting. So let's conduct ourselves. Israelis are looking up to us. Violence has no space in the SLPP. It has no space in this country. For those who are involved in violence, I completely disassociate the SLPP from them, and we completely disown anybody that is involved in violence and that will attempt to disrupt our political party's activity. That is not the SLPP way, and it will not be accepted. We call on Israeli police to investigate any reported case of violence wherever it occurs, and to ensure that those who are responsible are brought to the law, and the law will take it full course. Thank you very much.
All right, and lastly from you, Eugene, it's getting closer to the time where we would be hearing a lot from your commission as well. Well, what will be your parting word to political parties and citizens at large, because they make up political parties?
Yes, we'll continue to do our work as a commission, engaging these political parties, and also as they prepare for their various lower level elections, we advise that they comport themselves and also work with their constitution. And we'll continue to monitor the next level of the SLPP lower level elections. And I want to also use this opportunity to advise the party and its membership that they should behave themselves in their next level, and also remind them that we have the code of conduct now with us. Now we have the power, to take action. So we don't derive pleasure in using the code of conduct, but if there are instances, then we definitely have to use it. So we remind them and we advise them also. So now, so far, what we've monitored is okay. I mean, only a little bit of disagreement, but so far the process is fine. So we wish them all the best, and we expect them to still maintain the level of peace and abide to their rules and regulations. Thank you.
Right, Eugene, thank you so much. Umaru, it was a pleasure having you in the studio this morning.
Exactly.
Thanks for having us.
Indeed.
Well, of course, this is where we will end today's edition of Wake Up Sierra Leone here, and we say thank you to our sponsor, Rokel Commercial Bank, for your support to the program, and of course to you, all our audience. We do appreciate your time. I see Jones is having fun in the comment section.